Parents, what's the most absurd thing you've found on your kid's social media? My 6-year-old daughter left her iPad open one night and I noticed she'd been searching for how to make people disappear forever. As a single dad, my heart stopped. The search history got darker. Magic spells to remove humans. Ways to make someone vanish without trace. Best time to make people go away. I scheduled an emergency therapy appointment, terrified my sweet little girl had developed disturbing thoughts. I even called my sister, a child psychologist, who suggested monitoring all her online activity and recommended a specialist. I barely slept that night, wondering if I'd missed warning signs. Should I check her room for concerning drawings? Was she being bullied at school? Had losing her mom last year affected her more deeply than I realized? That evening, while making dinner, she casually asked, "Daddy, when will you teach me to make people disappear?" I nearly dropped the plate I was holding. "Sweetheart, we need to talk about these searches," I started carefully. She ran to her room excited, returning with her kid's magic kit. "Like this, Daddy. The magician at my friend's birthday made her dad vanish. I want to do that at the talent show next week." I've never felt such relief. Now she's the star of her elementary school talent show, making her principal disappear in a box. Though I did have to explain to her teacher why she searched how to saw humans in half on the school computer.
Am I the a-hole for telling my mom and her husband that I can't wait to turn 18 to leave their house? When I was 6, my mom left me and dad for some guy with a lake house. She promised she'd call every week. That lasted maybe 3 times. After that, nothing. No birthday calls, no Christmas cards, just gone. Dad couldn't handle raising me alone. Too many memories of her, I guess. So 2 months after she left, he drove me to my aunt's apartment and said it was just temporary. I lived there for 9 years. He'd visit twice a month, sometimes once. We'd sit at the same Starbucks for exactly 30 minutes. He'd ask about school, I'd answer. Then he'd check his watch and leave. Then my aunt got diagnosed. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. The doctor said maybe 6 months. She made it 8. I was 15, watching the only person who actually raised me waste away on a hospital bed. I thought Dad would finally step up, take me in, be a parent. Instead, he met me at the hospital 3 days after the funeral and said his new wife, married her 2 years ago, never even told me, wasn't comfortable with it. They had a baby on the way. "It's complicated," he said, but guess who suddenly reappeared? Mom. After 10 years of absolute silence, she showed up at my aunt's funeral wearing sunglasses and a black dress like she had any right to mourn. She hugged me in front of everyone, called me baby, said she'd been thinking about me every single day. She's married to Lake House guy now. They live in this massive house with a 3-car garage, 6 hours from anyone I know. They have twin daughters, 7 years old, blonde, perfect. Everything I apparently wasn't good enough to stick around for. I've been here 6 months. I spend most of my time in my room. It's huge, way bigger than anything I had at my aunt's, but it feels like a museum, like I'm not supposed to actually live in it. Her husband keeps trying. He learned ice skateboard, bought me a $400 board, new Vans, the whole setup. Wants to drive me to the skate park every weekend. Asks me about tricks I'm learning. I don't answer. Mom tries too. She'll knock on my door with cookies she baked. Asks if I want to watch a movie with them. I say I have homework. She knows I'm lying. The twins don't understand why I won't play with them. They'll stand outside my door asking if I want to see their new dolls. I feel bad, but I can't. I just can't watch them get the childhood I never had. Yesterday, her husband asked me to come with him to the store. Said we needed to pick up some stuff for the house. I agreed because I needed new headphones anyway. We were in the electronics section when this guy came up. Old friend of his from college or something. They're talking, catching up, and then the guy looks at me and says, "Who's this?" He put his hand on my shoulder. "This is my oldest son. You didn't know about him because he was living with my wife's sister for a while." I didn't make a scene there. Just stood there frozen while they talked for another 5 minutes. But the second we got to the parking lot, I lost it. Told him he's not my father. Never will be. He's just the guy who helped destroy my family. The reason my mom abandoned me when I was 6 years old. He went quiet, said he was sorry, that he didn't know how else to introduce me. I told him to try my wife's son if he needed to say anything at all. We drove home in complete silence. When we walked in, he went straight to Mom. I could hear them talking in the kitchen. Then Mom came to my room, eyes already red. She said, "You really hate us that much, don't you?" And something in me just snapped. I told her yes. I told her she left me, disappeared for 10 years, and now she wants to play happy family like those 10 years never happened. Like I didn't spend every birthday wondering why I wasn't good enough for her to stay. I said, "I'm counting down the days until I turn 18. The second I can leave, I'm gone, and I'm not sure I ever want to see you again." She started crying. Her husband came in and grabbed her hand. They both just stood there staring at me. I told them to get out of my room. They've been trying to talk to me since last night, knocking on my door, leaving food outside. I haven't come out except to use the bathroom. I told my friend about it on the phone. He said I'm being an a-hole, that they're trying, and I'm punishing them for something that happened when I was a kid. But I waited 10 years for her to come back, and she only showed up when she had no other choice.
My husband and son both lied to me. I'm 34, my husband's 36. We've been married for 12 years. A few weeks ago, my husband mentioned this woman he's been helping out. Noelle, single mom, going through a rough time. He said she handles situations he didn't think I could handle. When I told him that hurt, he brushed it off. Just a compliment, don't be jealous. I dropped it because he seemed annoyed I even brought it up. Then last Tuesday, I came home from work around 5:30. There were sunglasses on our kitchen counter, tucked behind the fruit bowl like someone tried to hide them. Fendi, the expensive kind with the logo on the side, at least $400. I picked them up and asked my husband whose they were. He was unloading the dishwasher and looked genuinely confused. "Aren't they yours?" "No, I don't own Fendi anything." That's when our 11-year-old, who was sitting at the kitchen table doing homework, spoke up. "Oh, those are my friend Allison's. I accidentally grabbed them at school." I stared at him. "Allison brought $400 sunglasses to 5th grade?" He nodded quickly. "Yeah, I'll give them back tomorrow on the bus." Something felt completely wrong. I know Allison's mom. She packs her daughter's lunch in reusable containers to save money. She's not letting her kid bring designer sunglasses to elementary school. I told my son I'd return them myself to make sure they got back safely. His face went white. My husband didn't say anything, just kept loading dishes. I texted Allison's husband's mom that night. She confirmed they weren't Allison's. Neither she nor her daughter owned sunglasses like that. Had never even seen them. When I showed my son the text, his story changed immediately. Oh well, maybe they're not Allison's. I don't know whose they are then. My husband suddenly remembered something. He pulled those sunglasses out of our son's backpack earlier when he was getting his lunch stuff out. Didn't think anything of it at the time. Both of them acting like this was some innocent mystery. Then my 9-year-old came home from his friend's house. He walked into the kitchen, saw the sunglasses on the counter, and said, "Those are Noelle's." The room went silent. "How do you know Noelle?" I asked him. He looked at his dad, then at his brother. "We hang out with her sometimes, her and her son." My husband's face went completely blank. I looked at my older son. "Is that true?" He stared at his homework and didn't answer. My younger son kept talking. "Yeah, on Wednesdays and Fridays when you're at work. We go to her house or she comes here. Dad said not to tell you because you'd feel bad about being left out while you're working." I felt like I'd been punched. I grabbed the sunglasses and drove to Noelle's house. I'd been there once before when my husband dropped off groceries for her. She answered the door and saw me holding her sunglasses. Her face went pale. "I'm so sorry," she said immediately. "I thought you knew about our hangouts." "What hangouts?" My voice was shaking. She looked confused. "Your husband brings the boys over twice a week. We have dinner sometimes. I assumed you knew. Why would you care anyway if you're separated?" My blood went cold. "We're not separated." Her expression changed completely. "What do you mean?" "He said you've been basically roommates for months, co-parenting but not together." I couldn't speak. She stepped back. "He told me you were waiting until the boys were older to officially divorce, that you both agreed to it." I drove home. My husband was sitting at the kitchen table. Both boys were in their rooms. "She thinks we're separated," I said. He didn't look surprised, didn't even try to deny it. "I developed feelings for her," he said quietly. "But I didn't want to risk our marriage until I knew if they were real or just attraction. I needed time to figure it out." "By lying to both of us? By using our kids?" He stood up. "I made a mistake. I'm sorry." "Where are you going?" "I don't know. Noelle doesn't want anything to do with me now. She's furious I lied." He grabbed his keys and left. I texted Noelle later. She responded immediately. Told me she had no idea we were still together, that she felt sick about the whole thing, that she'd never spoken to my husband again. I called a lawyer the next morning. My older son finally admitted my husband had told him to lie about the sunglasses. Said if I found out about Noelle, I'd be devastated and it would ruin everything. I haven't spoken to my husband since that night, only through lawyers now. I don't have anything left to say to him.